course, met at orphan relief efforts, Nepo baby. My parents, Jen and Jack, are on Moore's board. So yeah, I've always been the Nepo baby, but I'm actually very famous. You might have seen me in the Randolph, New Jersey Girl Scout Gold Award ceremony. Yes, I was a Girl Scout when I was 18, not to brag. I could have gone pro, but I hate camping in the outdoors. So yeah, I just decided to make a touching documentary about Moore with a couple of illegally downloaded U2 songs, and then sell some cookies to myself and peace out. So I'm obviously violently Irish Catholic. Thank you so much. Someone has to do it. And I grew up so Irish Catholic that I learned to Irish step dance in a Protestant church. It was a statement for sure. I never saw a single one of the Protestants, and I'm positive that was on purpose. If you ever have generational beef with someone, I would definitely recommend reenacting Stomp on their linoleum floors once a week. That'll show them. And no, doing Irish step dancing for 7 years did not make me able to dance, but it did make me never move my arms again. I'm locked in. Yeah, I like to think that you can tell how Irish Catholic I am because God went bold with the eyebrows and then just kind of retreated and got really shy and polite. I look like a child on an old-timey Irish farm that was traumatized by fairies and hasn't spoken since. I promise if I didn't have this mic, you would not be able to hear me. But I actually did double minor in comedy and Irish studies, which you could literally only do at NYU while I was there. I was the first person to try, and they were like, "Holy shit, we weren't serious." I literally spent 4 years watching screen-shared bagpipes performances on Zoom. I got a degree, it was great. So what did I do with my extremely practical degree? Thank you for asking. The answer is a series of several jobs, almost none of which have had remotely anything to do with comedy or Irish studies. And one of my jobs last summer during the strike, I was doing the Lord's work, working as a temp. Temping is when you get paid to live 1,000 lives. So on my very first temp job that I ever had, I was told that I was going to be a receptionist at this conference center. It was a place where companies could rent a room for the day for a meeting or conference, if you will. And to give you guys a sense of the vibe of this Midtown basement, I was the only temp who lasted more than a day. There was no AC in August, and it was terribly run by identical twins. So I arrived my first morning at 8 a.m. sharp. I'm like, all right, what's the deal? We'll be answering phones, getting coffees, what's this job? And twin A was like, drop and give us 20. You're gonna have to go into this room and plug in a bunch of extension cords so that the businessmen can plug in their laptops. And I was like, heard, chef, in that room? And twin B was like, no, in this room where the meeting is currently happening. So before I know it, I'm crawling between the legs of various executives, just plugging random shit in unexplained, with the intensity of Josh Peck and Oppenheimer. And finally, one of the businessmen is like, what are you doing? Get out of this room. And I was like, I'm so sorry, please add me on LinkedIn. So that was the first morning of my first day. It was followed, of course, by a month of scandal, drama, and intrigue, such is the life of a temp. But I eventually had enough of crawling between people's legs and pouring Josh for happy hour and promising people that we would turn on the AC, and we never would. It didn't exist. So I left and died and went to Temp Heaven, which was a series of several architecture firms. There was free lunch, windows, and plenty of cool toys to stare at and think about how I failed the spatial reasoning section of the IQ test. So by now I'm kind of sure what you guys are thinking, and it's almost definitely what's wrong with her. I actually do have an answer for that, and psychologically I don't know if that's better or worse. But the answer is I was born without a sense of smell, which is a real thing that happens to exactly 1 in 10,000 people. So this century, America got me, Jason Sudeikis, and Ben from Ben & Jerry's. Enjoy. So I'm now going to answer all the questions that you're about to ask me. This is the FAQ portion of the show. So question number 1, how did you know you couldn't smell? Thank you for asking. The answer is I literally just brought gorgonzola cheese as my snack at preschool one too many times. And my teacher was like, she might need medical attention. Question number 2, at all? You can't smell at all? Guys, I wouldn't be like, I have no sense of smell, but I can smell a little bit. What's wrong with you? The third question, why? Why can't you smell? You can't just ask people why they can't smell. But the answer is nobody knows. I went to so many scary doctor's visits as a child that I still have to bring a chaperone for moral support when I get a flu shot. I had so many like MRIs, ultrasounds. I had to do the classic blindfolded apple versus onion test. Spoiler alert, I bit the onion like an idiot. And after all that, these sadists were like, I don't know, you probably bonked your head during your birth. That'll be $10,000. So that's all I got. And the final question, of course, can you taste? Scientifically, no, but I swear to God, yes. And it's irrelevant that I mostly eat pickles and hot sauce. So that concludes the FAQ portion of the show. A portion that was sponsored by that time when I was 6, and my friend from Girl Scouts asked me why I had a nose. And her mom said, quote, you can't just ask people why they have a nose. So now that that's out of the way, having no sense of smell is called being anosmic, and being anosmic is weird as hell every day. Like, I'm fully missing one of the 5 senses, but it's the one that you low-key don't need. Like, it's like certainly best case scenario for not having a sense. It's just like most of the time I'm confused. Like sometimes I'm like, I get it. Like I understand the concept of smells. Like I know where you guys are coming from. Like sometimes I'm like, I'm also Pavlov to like crave bagels when I walk into a bagel store. So like I get it. But then other times I see like a car air freshener with the scent black ice, and I'm like, oh, you guys are freaks. Anyway, so I actually currently live alone for the first time ever, which is a day that I never thought would come because I was told as a child by a doctor that I could never live alone, literally. When I was 5, one of my neurologists was like, holy shit, dude, you can't smell, you're gonna die in a microwave popcorn fire. Get wrecked. I was like, I'm 5. But yeah, he was like, it would be a bad idea, like, you're gonna be like drinking expired milk and die in a gas leak and like have no one to BO check you. But now like, it's 2024, like oat milk exists, there's like natural gas detectors on Amazon, like I think it'll be fine, but I still have no one to BO check me, I'm sorry. So yeah, he was like, living alone is a bad idea. Now that I think about it, he was kind of mean. He was also like, you're gonna need to get an MRI to get this checked out. But since you're 5, I don't think you're going to be able to sit still, get wrecked. So he requested that I bring along some form of entertainment that I could listen to, like through the MRI machine as a distraction. Little did he know I was a 5-year-old genius prodigy. So I brought the hottest mixtape of 2004, a CD I made myself of myself talking. Thank you so much. It was what one might generously describe as freestyle rap. My dad made like a clip art album cover and everything. And the title track was Get Me Out of This MRI. And its lyrics described my annoyance at having to sit still for 20 full minutes in the hopes of solving my smell thing. As well as how fucking stoked I was to go to Build-A-Bear afterwards. So I would kill to be my mom in the room with a 5-year-old me ankle deep in an MRI machine, while my bitch-ass neurologist has to do his job while listening to Get Me Out of This MRI. And this guy's response to my diss track was like, I don't know, your brain looks normal, which like, first of all, what? Like, I was like 4 befriending skunks and dropping diss tracks, like, my brain was not normal to the naked eye. And second of all, that meant that literally all I got out of that entire experience was a Build-A-Bear. 10 out of 10 would do again. Anyway, continuing with why I hate STEM and doctors, joking. One day in 2nd grade, I woke up with a racing heart and got rushed to the cardiologist and diagnosed with a heart condition. And as a reward for braving the doctor that time, my mom gave me the choice of going to the candy store or the cheese store. As a kid who brought gorgonzola cheese to school, I went with the obvious choice, which, by the way, like couldn't be me now. Like I still have the palate of someone who can barely taste, which is again spicy and stinky. But I like live in constant fear now that my food smells to other people, even though like people are always telling me that all food smells, and like people may or may not like the smell of each food. But yeah, I like learn new things about smells every day. I recently learned that you can smell food from outside a restaurant, and I like had an existential breakdown. But yeah, so I picked out this giant, like 5-pound block of sharp-ass cheddar for myself. And my mom was like, we're gonna need to come up with a contract for how you're gonna eat this, because she was concerned that I was gonna eat it in one sitting and get constipated. Since I had recently gotten extremely constipated under similar circumstances. And drank a shit ton of Miralax and shit myself in gym class. Which I also did not know smelled. So my mom's like, we need to come up with a system. So the deal that we arrived at was that I was gonna get to gnaw on my block of cheddar on my walk to school every day until I finished it. Like a Dust Bowl child. That sort of taught me the valuable lesson, shoot for the toilet bowl. If you miss, you'll land in the Dust Bowl. Anyway, fast forward to high school, the same cardiologist is like, JK, you don't actually have a heart condition, but I'm still gonna make you wear a heart monitor to high school, get wrecked. And I didn't even get a Build-A-Bear that time, so it's kind of upsetting, like as if being a pro Girl Scout wasn't enough. Anyway, thank you guys so much, I'm Emma Baxter.